everybody, it's Allison. Welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome to another video where I am playing with some paper from La La Land Crafts. Now if you've watched my YouTube channel before, you might remember maybe a month or so ago I played with some of their pattern paper. It was like a countryside pack, and this is a different pack, and look how beautiful these cards are, and it's all because of the paper. So here is the paper. The pack is called Spring Song, and again, it's from La La Land Crafts, and they have the most gorgeous papers. So let's take a look at this pack. Now you get 2 of each design, and they're double-sided. So I'm going to show you each paper and the opposite side. So there you can see, I'm going to show you the front and back of each paper, and look at this paper. It is so gorgeous, and really I had a million other things that I should have been doing, but as soon as I got this paper in the mail, and by the way, thank you Irina from La La Land Crafts for sending this to me. But anyway, as soon as I opened it, I just kind of had to stop everything and make a few cards. So it's just so pretty, and it's so unique. And the colors, ugh, I just love it. I mean, it's, you know, I have had pattern paper since I started making cards maybe 5 years ago, but I feel like pattern paper lately is just, I don't know, all the companies are just upping their game. Or maybe I've just started noticing it in the past year. I don't know, but it's just so gorgeous. So I've picked a piece from the paper pack, and this is Black Soot Distress ink, and I am just simply ink blending around it, and it kind of creates a frame. It just adds a little bit more drama. Not that this paper needs more drama because it's gorgeous, but I mean, I'm sure you've seen me do this a lot, ink blending the edges of paper, especially if I don't have a margin around, like with a card base, and I just want to put my paper right on the card base. This just creates a frame. So look at the difference. There's the same paper, and look what adding that ink blending does to it. It's just so dramatic. This is the Exquisite Hummingbird from Simon Says Stamp. This is new, and it's one die, and you just cut out all the pieces, and then you can ink blend them, or you can cut it out of colored cardstock, whatever you find easier. I'm going to ink blend mine today. Now ignore the blue pieces on the right. I had shaded those and decided that it was too dark, so I'll reshade some new pieces in a bit, but I will put those blue ones aside in my stash and use it for a different card. So this is Spiced Marmalade for the wings, and then I'm coming in with some Crackling Campfire to add a little bit of pop. And every once in a while I'm going to take my pieces over to the pattern paper just to see how I'm liking the colors. So here I'm coming back in with my blue brush. I had originally used Stormy Sky. Now I'm going on really light because those other pieces were just too dark. I'm coming in with just a little bit of chipped sapphire now, and I'm going to use one of my waffle flower shader brushes. I think this is the 0 brush. And now this is one of my little tricks I'm sure you've seen me use. This is just an inexpensive little dauber, and I'm using black ink to go around the edges just to make this hummingbird pop out from the background, because it is, you know, there's a lot going on in the background. Now for the top part of the wing, I did pop it up on some thin foam squares. And now that guy is ready to glue down on my panel. This is Big Hugs Posh Script from Memory Box, and it comes with a shadow die, which I cut in black. I cut the letters out of white cardstock, but I did add some subtle shading with some blue ink just to knock down the brightness because there's really not any white on this card. I know it looks kind of white in this picture, but it's not. And I added some dewdrops, and I love this card. Here's another one. Gorgeous. Ugh, this paper. All right, for this paper, this is old paper distress ink, which this is a color that goes neglected. I don't use it a lot. And by the way, I do own a lot of inks besides these mini distress ink cubes. You might wonder why I use them all the time. First of all, I love them. They're awesome inks. I've had them forever. But second, they sit in a drawer right next to me. So they kind of have an advantage over the inks that are across the room. So I do need to start giving my other inks some love, but these will always be my first love because they were the first inks that I ever bought. So I'm just going around just like I did with that black soot on the first card. Because this is a lighter color, it's not as dramatic of an effect. I'm going to show you before and after. I just grabbed some screenshots from the film footage. So you can see it's subtle, but it's definitely makes a difference. So here is the Whirl Dragonfly. Again, this is from Simon Says Stamp, and it's one die that cuts out all three of these pieces, which I have initially cut from just some white cardstock. Now I did cut the wings again from Vellum, and I'm gluing them on top of the white layers just in the very center because I want these wings to lift up. So I will do that for the top set of wings, and here's the bottom set of wings. And this is just plain vellum and plain white cardstock. All right, so now I'm using one of my grip mats to help me here. This is the new 4x4 grip mat, the smallest grip mat. And the very middle of my dragonfly is clinging to the grip mat so it won't move, because the only thing that's going to connect these two pieces is this middle thin little body part. And I'm not going to try to pretend to know what this part of the dragonfly is called, because we all know I'm terrible with animal and insect body part names. But there we go. So the grip mat comes in handy for things like that. Now, this is Splatter White Opaque Watercolor from Spellbinders. This is the first time I'm using it. It's this little tiny bottle. And at first glance, I was kind of like, what? Although I kind of knew ahead of time what to expect. But it doesn't look like there's a lot. But this paint is very concentrated, so it doesn't take a lot of paint to get a lot of splatter. And believe it or not, that little amount will last a long time. So I just added a tiny bit of water here, and I took a tiny bit of paint from that jar. And it splatters really well. I was really pleased. I usually use white acrylic paint for things like this, but when you add water to the acrylic paint, it dilutes it, and it's not as bright of a white as this is. So again, this is just subtle texture that I'm adding to the card. And all right, so this final design was the result of two happy accidents. First, I grabbed what I thought was a half sheet of cardstock from one of my tables to make a card base, but it was actually 4.5 inches wide instead of 4.25. So that's what gave me the idea of having the margin on the side here. I could have cut it to the right size, but I thought, let's just go with it. And then I ran across this roll of black glitter washi tape in my drawer. I'm sure I was looking for something in my drawer that was missing because, you know, if I'm not crafting, I'm looking for something in my craft room. Usually it's my phone or my scissors or something like that. But anyway, I ran across this stuff, but you can see from my hands, this black glitter is getting everywhere. So I love the idea, but I ended up not using that. I just grabbed a piece of black glitter cardstock and cut a strip. And now I'm just adding some glitter drops from PinkFresh Studio. These are some of my favorite embellishments. And I used the Sparkle and Shine Ombre, and then I think the Aqua and Blush colors. And now I'm just adding a black gem to the head. Is it the head? I don't know. The Happy Birthday is from the Layered Mix and Match Sentiments from Spellbinders. And there you can see how the wings lift off the card, because I only glued that very center part of the dragonfly to the card. And there it is. Isn't it gorgeous? So here's the next card. And of course, I had to go with the Postage products from Waffle Flower. You might remember the video that I did last month with the paper from La La Land Crafts and the Postage collage products from Waffle Flower. So these are the oversized Postage dies, and here's the oversized Postage stamp set. So I've put my panel inside my Misty onto my grip mat, and I'm going to stamp. But this panel is pretty precious, right? So I'm going to use one of the carrier sheets from one of my Waffle Flower grip mats. I don't know which grip mat it's from, but this is basically acetate. It's thicker than the packaging that your dies and stamps come in. And I've placed it over my card panel, and it's staying in place because of the actual grip mat that's in there. And it's just a great way to audition stamps when you don't want to risk ruining your card panel. So I've stamped it onto the acetate, and now instead of having to keep moving my stamp around and trying over and over again to get the perfect placement, I can just move the actual card panel into place underneath the acetate. And the acetate's not moving because remember it's on the grip mat. So I can just line my paper up with the stamp that's on the acetate until I'm happy with what it looks like, and then I can just remove the acetate, and I'll know that, it's going to stamp right in that exact position. So it's just such a time saver. I'm telling you, these Waffle Flower grip mats, I don't know what I did without them. So here I'm going to do it fast down below. Again, my piece of acetate, or the carrier sheet, is over my panel, and now I'm just going to move my panel around until I like what it looks like. And then I can remove the carrier sheet and go ahead and stamp on the panel. So I was going to add some of the other stamps to this panel, but it was just so pretty. It reminded me of some of those pretty stamps. So jumping ahead, I prepared a card base off camera by using this rubber cling stamp. This is a handwritten cling stamp from Simon Hurley, and it has the most beautiful script on it. And I just opened up the card base, put it in my Misty, and then I masked off the backside, so the backside is blank. It doesn't have the stamp on it. And this sweet little sentiment in the corner. This is the Hello Moonlight script from Poppy Stamps, and I liked how the script look of it kind of tied in with that script background. And to finish the card, I'm just going to use those Sparkle and Shine Ombre glitter drops again from PinkFresh Studio. And I'm going to put them in the center of these flowers. The center of the flowers on the paper is actually yellow, so these little glitter drops are it's an ombre of gold and silver. So here is the final card, and I think it's really sweet and beautiful, and here they all are together. And again, I didn't do a whole lot to this paper. I added some ink blending and a few embellishments, but really anything you do with this paper is going to be gorgeous. Again, I don't know what it is about pattern paper lately. I'm just loving it, and I'm wanting to play with it more and more, and hopefully you enjoyed watching me play, and let me know in the comments. Do you like pattern paper? Do you like using it on your cards? Do you want to see me continue to use pattern paper on cards? I'd love to hear what you think. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And while you're at it, don't forget to subscribe. As always, I really appreciate having you here. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.